We made it to the final chapter. Chapter 14, The White Queen. Whoa. Ooh, fancy. I was curled up on my sofa in my newly decorated living room. Well, well. Good on you, girl. Watching a news report on the latest developments regarding the Sierra situation. Endgame had released information a little at a time in an attempt to control the narrative and make sure the story flowed the way we wanted. Sneaky. They were now reporting that a lab owned by the UTG was responsible for the strange espers that had surfaced on Sierra, victims of illegal research and development. The Triad, of course, denied any knowledge of this research and claimed they were launching an investigation of their own to locate the culprits. We expected that response. But it cast just enough doubt on them to weaken their position as a whole, and put Endgame in a better public light since it reaffirmed our neutral position in the matter. Nice. The attack in Brazil, which left 32 dead, dozens injured and missing, was pinned on a little-known group with no ties to the Sierra dissidents. Well, that's good. At least the Sierra dissidents didn't take the full flack for that. Endgame was claiming it had apprehended those responsible, with the exception of one woman still at large. Okay. Gina. She still hadn't been found. By us or the Triad, as far as Magnus could tell. I was angry they'd made up a story about the attack, that the real culprits would never be held accountable. But apparently, destabilizing the Triad by revealing who was really behind the attack would have caused long-term problems for everyone. The short-term gains weren't worth it. Now that is to be determined. Endgame didn't want the Sierra dissidents blamed for it either, thus a complete cover-up and blaming a non-existent group. At least publicly. Things were different behind the scenes. The men we captured would be held accountable outside the normal court system. There would be an Endgame tribunal held by the council, and consequences would be meted out by them. Apparently they had the authority to do it, and this was standard practice. New Albion had asked for the men to be extradited on the grounds they were New Albion citizens. Endgame refused. I wasn't privy to that particular communication, but Magnus said he clarified that any future attacks against Endgame would be met with appropriate force, and that we would be further investigating the allegations of illegal Esper research. New Albion backed down. But I still hated it. This political chess game the important powers played with one another, if you will. I hated that the peace everyone in Arcalis enjoyed felt like smoke and mirrors in the light of all this. The report turned back to the core Sierra conflict, where the Triad was now reaching out to initiate a ceasefire and begin peace talks. Life moves on, doesn't it? Well, hello, you.
Tired?
A little. Whoa. Ari's passionate ending. Okay, hey! I'll take that. Speaking of the passionate ending, I believe there's another Steamy Steam situation coming up, so keep that in mind going forward, that, you know, if you need to leave, it's okay. But just a heads up. Things might be heating up one more time before the ending. A little. Mostly just already tired of this. The cover-up. The lies.
It is an unpleasant reality that sometimes it is necessary to bend the truth for the benefit of the public. We made it clear to them we have evidence of who is behind it, and that any future attacks on our domain will not be allowed to slide.
It's just... people died. The people responsible should be held accountable.
That is the purpose of the tribunal.
I know. If you'll recall, I have to appear there tomorrow.
I do recall.
But there's one person who will probably never be held accountable.
Gina may not even be alive. The entire section of the ruins we were in seems to have half collapsed and half rearranged itself into a new configuration. It's anyone's guess if she made it out. Magnus has been keeping watch, and it doesn't appear as though she's contacted the Triad either.
That doesn't make me feel better.
It is far more satisfactory to see individuals held accountable. but there are other ways to enforce accountability. Sierra has a genuine opportunity for independence now. Perhaps if the Triad had approached the situation with more honor, they could have retained their hold on Sierra. As it is, they stand to lose it. That will hopefully be a deterrent.
Their lack of honor seems like it's the source of the entire situation.
Perhaps. But that is also why we're here. There are as many forces working to destroy peace as there are forces working to preserve it.
He smoothed my hair back behind my ear.
You are among those forces now yourself.
Sometimes I think that fact should terrify everyone.
I will admit it has occasionally terrified me.
I dug an elbow playfully into his side. Hilarious.
It wasn't a joke.
I laughed and snuggled back into him. All frustrations aside, it was nice to be like this.
Morgan, it's almost time. Are you sure you don't want to go down to see him off?
What, my dumb ex-boyfriend? No, thank you. I propped myself up, giving him another mock glare. That's the third time you've asked. I told you we said goodbye yesterday. I don't want to go see him off.
If you're trying to spare my feelings, I
put a finger to his lips, stopping him. I'm not trying to spare your feelings. Trent and I had a talk yesterday and sorted everything and said goodbye. I don't need to say goodbye again.
I see. I trust he's fully recovered.
Fortunately, he didn't have burnout symptoms. He didn't have to use his psi that much, considering how fast I responded. And being able to examine a patient so soon after receiving the serum they've been using helped Sasaki figure out how to identify its presence in the bloodstream. Nice. Trent is already back to normal. Well, almost. I had to admit that when I first learned Endgame could and would alter the memories of normal citizens, I was a little taken aback. They can Men in Black flash your memory away? Dang. But after Vaughn and Ari explained it, I came to understand, somewhat. In Trent's case, he knew the truth behind the attacks and research. Truth that Endgame didn't want to get out. Erasing his memory was as much for his protecting as it was to ensure their cover-up was airtight. It was strange that he had no memory of the events in the ruins. But maybe it was for the best. As for that injection, Sasaki learned it was a serum with specially programmed nanites. They would gather in the brain and function similarly to the nuclei clusters of an Esper's Forix system. But in order to work, they had to be programmed with a specific psi fingerprint. F-class waves were easier to work with since they didn't rely on nanoresonance. That was behind their attempt to get their hands on the information of Espers like Ari and myself. Fortunately, they failed, and all their research would be buried deep in the Endgame archive. Speaking of burnout, how are you feeling? Both of us were still on leave because of mild psi fatigue from that last teleport out. My bout of it was mild, but Ari's was less so. It had been building for a while due to all those trips to Sierra and back.
I am fine. You seem to be recovering well also.
I think I'm back to normal. It was a much faster recovery than last time.
I'm glad to hear it. I fear that with peace talks on the horizon, we won't have much more time to relax in the near future.
I noticed our training regimen is starting up tomorrow.
It would be wise to get the teleportation under control. I know firsthand how problematic it can be to not be able to control it.
Right. Such as accidentally teleporting into someone's shower? Ari's face colored and he looked away.
If even I am prone to such things with the amount of training I have, you can imagine how far you have to go.
I didn't mind it too much. Though it was a little off-putting you're the only one who got something interesting to look at.
I believe you have looked at everything there is to look at several times at this point.
Dang. I don't know. I haven't quite memorized the pattern of freckles on the back of your shoulders yet.
I'm still puzzled why you're so fascinated by something as innocuous as patches of concentrated melanin on my back.
Oh, hush you. In any case, once I've gotten the hang of it, I'll have to teleport into your shower as revenge at least once.
I would not object to the prospect.
Alright, it's a date. I couldn't help but smile. His flirting was still a little awkward, but it was also endearing. His attempts to tease me always left me completely captivated by him. Even more than I already was. Dong. That's 'cause you in love, girl. I leaned up and kissed him softly. He let out a pleased murmur and pulled me closer. A pleasant warmth began to spread through me, and when we separated moments later, Ari smiled down at me. Aww.
You are beautiful. I never thought I would feel something like this, but I hope you realize how much I care for you.
I do, but I wouldn't mind if you showed me. Okay, this is probably the time, guys, so skedaddle if you skedaddlin', or get comfy. I won't judge either way.
I am not confident in my ability to show you the full depths of how I feel.
Then shall I show you how I feel instead? I leaned up and pressed another kiss to his mouth. His tongue flickered briefly against my lips, then touched mine. Gently at first, then more aggressively as he deepened the kiss. I wound my arms around him, pulling myself closer to him as one of my knees slid over his thigh. Ari's hand found its way to my hip before he tugged me onto his lap. My knees dug into the sofa as our bodies pressed against each other in just the right way to send a pleasant shiver through my body. Ari gasped against my lips as I rocked my hips slightly. Waves of delicious, dizzying heat swept through my body.
Morgan.
His voice had a hint of pleading to it as he ran both hands under the edge of my shirt, over my stomach and ribcage. Unable to stop myself, my head fell back and I let out a soft moan. His mouth found my throat, branding fiery kisses to the tops of my breastbone and lower. His soft silver hair slipped through my fingers as I clutched his head tighter to my chest, trying to catch my breath under the assault of lips and tongue. A few weeks ago, I couldn't have imagined this sort of moment with him, and now nothing else in the world was as right as this. He looked up at me, pale eyes almost gleaming in the light. I leaned to press another heated kiss to his lips. Then he pushed me gently to my back and leaned above me, face flushed. He feverishly removed his shirt, fumbling with the buttons until I reached up to help. Ah, perfect. Both his and mine dropped unceremoniously on the floor beside us. What? You didn't fold your shirt this time? What's happened to you, Ari? You're completely different now. Who are you? And it was scorching skin against scorching skin as his mouth found mine. Beneath the desperate yearning, the pull to touch and taste more and more, I could feel him holding back. These moments were still a struggle for control for him. But every time he gave up a little more ground, relinquished more of himself. Every groan and cry and trembling touch made me love him even more than before. When he was moving over me, eyes shut, breaths coming in ragged gasps, a foggy part of my mind whispered that he was the one thing I never realized I needed. And after, when he was lying on top of me with our legs wound together as he tried to catch his breath. Dong. Yeah, he actually said the words.
I love you.
I kissed him deeply then, and he folded me into his arms and held me close. For that one moment, everything was perfect. Later, we were lying side by side in my bedroom, and I was admiring the few sparse freckles on his chest. I propped myself up on my elbow and looked down at him, tracing a finger down his cheek. He looked up at me curiously. "Aw, hello, you." Adorable. Ari?
Yes?
I never thought I'd say this to anyone, but I'm glad you kidnapped me that day. He let out a long sigh and gave me a pained look that softened into an amused smile. You'll never hear the end of it.
Oh. Though I question your choice of wording, I have to admit, so am I.
I fell asleep in his arms, and that was the first night I didn't wake up to find him reading a few feet away. Aw, my heart. I truly believed I was exactly where I was meant to be. Man, it was like so soft and everything, and then it's like doom 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 doom. Like, whoa, what's happening now? Are we under attack?
CUA5, CUH1, get over here and get ready to move out! King's Guard, tell your damn boss he'd better monitor things and get us warning the moment the target moves. Yeah, we know that, thank you very much.
It was pretty much business as usual.
Are you ready? I believe this is the longest jump you will have made to date.
I've got it under control. Don't worry.
You always say that, and yet you always give me reasons to do exactly that.
What's that supposed to mean? Ari took my hands and pulled me to him, ignoring the commotion around us as 4 teams, including ours, got ready to mobilize.
It means you are reckless, and it is worrisome.
I learned from the best.
I did not teach you that. Okay, you 2 lovebirds, we're waiting on you.
Ari released my hands and gave her a disparaging look. Amazing.
Vanessa, please. We've been waiting on everyone else for the last 10 minutes. You going to be okay with teleporting 3 teams on your own?
It'll be fine. I've done it before. Well, almost. It was 2.5 last time. I'll be fine.
You keep saying that, and sometimes it's not true.
I've got this. Stop worrying.
Then stop giving us reasons to worry.
Ari gave me a knowing look. I just glared at them both. You're worse than my mum. Both of you.
I've met your mum, so I know that's not true.
Really? Vaughn met mom? Amazing! That's great. So that means that Morgan was able to, like, see her family again. Hooray! I'm so happy about that. We're ready to go. Get in position. I rolled my eyes and grabbed Ari, pulling him close enough for a quick kiss to the cheek just to annoy the others before I took up position with my teams. Get it, girl. Everyone, make sure you're within the specified area. Every part of you. Birdie, you too. I'd really hate to leave your foot behind because you weren't paying attention. Hey, Heidi. Good to see you again. CUD4 is ready when you are. Good. You make sure you pay attention this time. I want you to see if you can pinpoint the location of my second cage before we reach it. She gave me a teasing smirk. Just make sure you don't overshoot your second cage by 15 meters and almost launch us off a cliff this time. That was one time! Let's go! I shut my eyes, pictured the exact spot I needed to go, and jumped. Starts with a jump, ends with a jump. You love to see it. Yay! We did it! We got the passionate ending and it was great! It's nice to see our girl, like, taking control, taking the lead. What fun. Lots and lots of fun. Amazing. That was a solid end. Solid. Oh, I can't believe I'm actually at the end. I'm sad. I mean, I'm not done quite yet, but I'm sad that it's over. I'm gonna miss Ari. Aw, man. And now I gotta be like... Well, not quite yet. I'm gonna do the sweet ending first, so that should still be me being mostly nice to him, I imagine. But, that end is... I don't even want to think about that. I don't want to hurt my stoic boy, please. Well, for now, I will bask in how wonderful that was and not worry about it. We'll get to that when we get to it. No point freaking out yet. For now, We got a good ending with our boy. We changed our apartment, which means like we're moving forward. Ari's getting more comfy with her. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was good. And Trent's finally gone. Most importantly, Trent is out of here. I hope when they erased his memory, they at least kept the parts of his memory where he and Morgan finally broke up, because I do not want her getting another birthday card from him ever again. So yeah, as long as that's the case, we're good. I think we'll be fine. I think these guys got it. Thank you for playing Gilded Shadows. Thank you for making a delightful game. What a great first raid to start with. I loved it. And now he's all colored in. Yay! Awesome. Oh, I can't wait to fill this out. This is great. Okay. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed Ari's passionate ending. I certainly did. I had a great time. So, yeah, I think, from what I remember, he definitely has a sweet ending, and I think only the one bad ending. So, I'll be doing that next, if you guys would like to join me. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me for this, at the very least, guys. Until next time, I will see you later.